As Star Wars fans everywhere gear up towards the release of Rogue One, there continues to be a buzz around the Star Wars canon and ongoing efforts of Star Wars storytellers to bring us new and exciting material. At the end of the Darth Vader series from Marvel, we had the announcement that an ongoing series featuring Dr. Aphra would take its place. And now that Han Solo has concluded, we learn that Darth Maul will be getting a miniseries soon. The buzz around novels continues to grow, so without further ado, let us take a look at what came out and its place in the timeline as we explore the additions to the Star Wars canon, November 2016. There were 7 separate entries into the canon this month. We start this month with Luke and the Lost Jedi Temple, a children's 8x8, which adapts the story of Jason Fry's Weapon of a Jedi young adult novel. This is followed by Marvel's Poe Dameron issue number 8, part 1 in a new arc called The Gathering Storm. The final issue in Marvel's The Force Awakens adaptation, James Luceno's Catalyst, a Rogue One novel. Marvel's Star Wars issue number 25, part 5 in The Last Flight of the Harbinger story arc, Han Solo number 5, the final issue of this miniseries, and Marvel's Star Wars Annual issue number 2. Additionally this month, we saw 3 new episodes in Star Wars Rebels. Imperial Super Commandos, where Ezra and Sabine take Fenn Rau to Concord Dawn after the rebels lose contact with the station. Iron Squadron, where the crew of the Ghost encounter a trio of misfits who are brave or stupid enough to take on Imperial ships, but don't quite know what they've gotten themselves into. And The Winkathu Job, where the recurring characters Hondo Ohnaka and Asmorgan join up with the crew of the Ghost, including the droid AP-5, to raid an Imperial cargo ship. Now let us take a brief look at where each of these stories fits within the Star Wars canon timeline. The era between episodes 1 and 2 continue to be underdeveloped, though we do have pre-episode 1 stories coming very soon. I really hope that this area is being saved for something special, but only time will tell. Between episodes 2 and 3, we have the addition of the highly anticipated novel by James Luceno, Catalyst, a Rogue One novel. Catalyst tells the story of Rogue One's heroine Jen Erso's father, Galen Erso, and how he became involved with the Death Star project. The story focuses mostly on Galen and his relationship with Orson Krennic, the supposed villain of the film Rogue One. The story begins 1 year after the opening battle of the Clone Wars, and continues through the end of the war, and leads right into Tarkin, also by James Luceno. Aside from the new episodes of Star Wars Rebels, there is nothing to add here prior to Episode 4. After Episode 4, A New Hope, we have the final issue in the Han Solo miniseries. All the questions that the series raised are answered as the Dragon Void run concludes. What a great series to showcase a side of Han that becomes a huge part of his character after Episode 6. An interesting addition this month is Luke and the Lost Jedi Temple. While I can't claim if this is the first time this has happened or not, they have taken a young adult novel that is not related to the films and turned it into a fully illustrated storybook geared towards younger kids. What a great way to get canon stories in front of a younger audience in hopes to expose them to the larger Star Wars universe early. Perhaps it speaks to the importance of these stories in canon as each of these novels are getting this treatment. We also have the release of Star Wars issue number 25, the epic conclusion of The Last Flight of the Harbinger story arc. The encounter with Scar Squad heats up as the rebels attempt to complete their mission, which led them to steal the Star Destroyer in the first place. The second annual issue for the Star Wars series focuses on Princess Leia. After she is found injured on an Imperial-controlled planet, we find out how she recovers and inspires others to fight against the Empire. Again, nothing new here between 5 and 6. Poe Dameron, issue number 8, part 1 in The Gathering Storm arc, where stories of Poe and Agent Terex are told side by side as we lead towards their next encounter. And finally this month, we get the 6th and final issue in Marvel's The Force Awakens adaptation. Now, to preview what is coming up this month. We start December off with Leia and the Great Island Escape, an 8x8 children's adaptation of Moving Target. The release of the highly anticipated Dr. Aphra, issue number 1. Poe Dameron, issue number 9, continues the Gathering Storm story arc, and the short story Voices of the Empire in Star Wars Insider number 170, along with a new issue of the Rebels magazine containing original comics. Dr. Aphra, issue number 2, And Star Wars, issue number 26, another entry in the From the Journals of Ben Kenobi series, this one about Yoda taking place prior to Episode 1. And of course we continue to have ongoing episodes of Star Wars Rebels Season 3. Please note that these dates are subject to change. And of course, let us not forget that perhaps the most significant release next month is the release of Rogue One, a Star Wars story. That concludes this update for November 2016, and as always, thank you for watching! Be sure to subscribe to keep up with all the insight and analysis found here at Star Wars The Canon Explained. You can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Leave your comments and questions about this story or any element of the Star Wars canon below. Till next time, may the Force be with you.